Writing a cover letter for your fiction is a tricky business, and different people will give you different advice. This is not the last word. This is just my advice. Compare it with others. This is where you can start comparing advice. I'm going to talk about three things your cover letter must absolutely do, that it really needs to do to work as a cover letter. Three things you may or may not do, depending on the circumstances, that are sometimes the right thing to do, but not always necessary. And a number of things that you should never ever do. And when I say never ever do it, that's when you should take my advice as less up for debate and more consensual. Like most people will tell you, never to do this. And again, some people will give you idiosyncratic things, and some editors are idiosyncratic. First question that's just purely debatable: how do you address this letter? You want to find the editor's name, the appropriate editor's name. Treat the person you're writing to as if they're actually a person. Oh, a person. Oh my goodness. Somebody needs this cord. Oh, yum, 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 this cord. Okay, here you go. Okay. So you look online and you try to find the masthead. Go for the fiction editor if you can, if there isn't one listed. The highest ranking editor whose job is solely fiction. That's how I tend to do it. Other people give different advice. Some places want it the editor in chief's name. Some people say it's the kiss of death. It shows that you don't know anybody but the biggest editor. Some people actually are like, it's cool to be dear editors. Just say dear editors. That's fine. Um, if they have ever written back to you, write to the person who wrote back to you. That is important. Ah, oh, is that grumpy time? Is that a grumpy time? Daddy, how about Daddy's zipper? Okay, let's try this. Let's try Mr. Bunny and the shoulder. Hi. Hello. Hello, Internet. Hello, Bunny. Three things your cover letter absolutely has to include: the title and word count of your story. Dear fiction editor's name, I'm sending you a story of 3,300 words called First Stop Brooklyn. Hope you enjoy it. The basic information that they want to know. You should also have those things in the cover of your manuscript, but you should have it here too. You should also have your contact information on the cover letter. That's part of what they want it for. You should list your previous fiction credits if you have them, or it should say, this would be my first published story. Editors like to publish your first story ever. They like to print that little thing that says, this is so and so's first published story. They also like, sometimes they're like, oh, okay, this person's been in this magazine and that journal, okay, and so maybe we should give this a look. Maybe the slush reader is a little slower to throw it out. No one will really admit how much that matters. So, and it matters to different degrees in different places. Oh yes, Daddy's earphones, they're fascinating. The third thing you should include is thank you. So our three things we've got to include: title and word count, credits if you've got them, or the fact that you don't have any credits, thank you. Things you may or may not include. If this is a place that allows simultaneous submissions but asks you to tell them, tell them. There are three kinds of fiction markets in the world: places that don't accept simultaneous submissions, so only send it to that one place at one time. There are places that accept simultaneous submissions and kind of assume it's a simultaneous submission. You don't even need to tell them. Though to be on the safe side, maybe you do. And people who specify, if this is a simultaneous submission, please tell us so. Find a polite way to say that if you're doing simultaneous submissions. If you have ever gotten correspondence back from a place, if this is a submission after you've gotten a personal rejection, mention that personal rejection, right? Say, hey, thank you for your feedback. Thank you for your nice words about my last story, Middle Stop Brooklyn. Climbing up here. Uh-huh. Attacking the headphones. Attacking the headphones. It's a complicated age. Arrgh. Headphone attack. Headphone attack. Oh no. Look out. Say that. If you have, if you subscribe to the magazine, if you actually read or you read this magazine regularly, it's often a good idea. People have different opinions. It's often a good idea to find a way to let them know, hey, I really enjoyed story B, like that story in the last issue. It shows you're up to date, right? Like they like to. It also shows you that it also suggests to the journal that you know what you're doing, you know what you're talking about with them. And if you have at a point where you have any kind of writing credential that's specifically a creative writing credential, by which I mean you are at least in a graduate creative writing program, or you've been to one of a handful of the top tier of summer science fiction workshops, Clarion, Clarion West, Odyssey, those. Mention that too. Say, hi, I have an MFA from, or I'm in the MFA program at Cleveland State University. Or, hi, I got my MFA from Cleveland State University. Or, I attended Clarion West in 2019 before everything went wrong. Oh, oh no. Who wants those headphones? Who wants those headphones? Oh, it's tough. It's tough, little girl. It is. Okay, those are all things you could do that are optional, that are the right things to do under certain circumstances. Here are some things you should never do. Do not brag on your story. Don't tell them they're going to love it. It's not advertising. It's a form. It's a business letter. It's not it's not a spam. You're not playing the Nigerian prince online scam with them. Don't It's not advertising. It's a business letter. Be business like. Don't tell them they're going to like the story. Let them decide. It looks bush league if you tell them that. Do not tell them anything about the story. Oh, sorry. One more thing you should do. If it's a place that publishes multiple genres, use the word story, so it's not a poem or an essay. If it does multiple fiction genres, say, hey, this is a science fiction story or a fantasy story. I am sending you a science fiction story called First Stop Proxima Centauri. It's 3,300 words. Hope you enjoy it. Do not tell them any of the plot. They want to read it cold. They want to read it like you read it. Don't do that. That also looks like a rookie mistake. Do not inflate your credentials. Do not tell them. Don't bring up. Don't bring up like your undergraduate creative writing workshops, right? Don't bring up community writing workshops that you took from Literary Cleveland, right? Not that those aren't great. They're just not a credential. They're not a sign that you got. Why list graduate creative writing programs or Clarion and other kinds of things? Because the graduate creative writing programs means somebody already selected you for something and rejected other people. That you got into a highly selective program is the piece of data that they all claim not to care about, but some actually do and some don't. Um, so, at this point, sometimes actually I leave my MFA off my cover letter. I got it a long time ago. I don't tell them about awards I got nominated for and didn't win, minor as they are. That is Bush League. I don't tell them. Um, I don't tell them about minor awards I won in the 90s. I don't tell them about anything that isn't strictly a professional fiction publication or credential. By which I mean, I don't tell them about nonfiction. Like, I wrote a book on Shakespeare. Doesn't matter if you're trying to buy a short story from me. I don't know, how many articles have I published? Nonfiction articles? Doesn't matter, right? If you think, well, does this count or does this not count? It doesn't count. Just don't bring it up, right? Because if you look like you're inflating and puffing, you look a little desperate. One more thing. um, one more thing. How about this? No? Was this more interesting? If my microphone goes down, it's because she's chewing. My beloved child is chewing the volume control. If you get to the point where you have more than 3 fiction publications, just list the best 3, and that's the best 3 for that place. If I'm writing to a science, I have different lists for lit mags and for science fiction publications. And they go in different orders, etc. Like my best, so my best science fiction publication often doesn't get mentioned at all in the lit mag things. My best lit mag publication might be the third most important thing right now on my cover letter for science fiction journals. Um, don't puff anything up. Don't brag. Also, you will sometimes see advice that actually comes from the nonfiction book world to add a part about your biography about why you are the best person to write this story. That is for nonfiction writers, not for fiction writers. It is very bad advice for fiction writers. If you're pitching a nonfiction book about Doctors Without Borders, and your journalist who used to be who worked as a doctor without borders for 20 years, then you're the person. Tell the book agent that. Tell the publisher that. If you're writing a police procedural about medical examiners and you were the San Francisco County medical examiner for several years, yeah, bring that up. But mostly for fiction, it doesn't mean anything. Why am I the best person to tell this story? Because I'm a huge liar. I'm a crazy liar. That's why I'm the best person. No, the best person to tell this story, right? Might be an exception if I wrote historical fantasy based in Elizabethan England. I might mention that I'm a scholar of Shakespeare, right? But generally, that doesn't come up and doesn't mean right. That's only to show you that there's a reason that I know what I'm talking about when I talk about Elizabeth and her crazy courtiers, right? And here's the other thing: don't try to be cute. There's a temptation to make it stylish or whatever. Cool and businesslike is fine. Polite, brief, professional. That's all your letter has to be. Some people want to be the cute, stylish, funny ones. That can go badly in a big way. Be funny and talented in your story. And then it's time for a nap. Is it time for a nap? Might be time for a nap. Maybe lunch. Okay. Go compare my advice with other people's advice.